welcome to an already heated into it Ed Block CourageCast. You know why we're fired up, folks? Do you know why we're fired up? It's week 1 in the NFL. We just had college football this past weekend. We got a great guest coming on here in a little bit. Oh, it is back. It is so back. It is football season. Hallelujah. Yeah. We are happy. I'm your host, Dave Steinwedel, joined as always by my great set of co-hosts. I'm going to start with the man that's really fired up right now. That's former athletic trainer with the Ravens and the Saints. He's an athletic trainer at a high school right now. That would be Duane Brooks. DB, what's got you fired up right now?
Hey, man. Hey. I'm fired up because my nose took care of business this weekend. And I live in SEC country down here in Louisiana. And you know, people here in Louisiana, it's not about just the individual schools. It's about the conference. Anybody that's outside the SEC shouldn't be competing with the SEC, regardless of who the school is. I mean, it could have been Ohio State. And they're not supposed to lose to Ohio State because it's not the SEC. That's just their mentality. So in the past few years, I know we can beat LSU. We had a 2-2-10 season last year, but we can beat LSU. And we took down the SEC royalty, Alabama, this past weekend, even though they were ranked 8th, but they're SEC royalty. So I'm feeling pretty good about it because a few years ago, we were left out of the Final Four and replaced by Alabama. And people like Paul Feinbaum and all those kind of guys who laughing and all that, celebrating that the SEC got in and the SEC was left out. So I think that's redemption. And I'm pretty fired up about it. So I'm happy about that.
He takes it personal. It sounds very personal in his presentation, you know?
Damn right. Damn right, it's personal.
Like I'm glad you had a good week, bro. Big bro.
It's disgusting to see how SEC fans lose. You see how they're flipping off, the camera and stuff on TV and all that kind of stuff. Hey, I've experienced it firsthand. I can't tell you what I've heard some of the fans say leaving after when we beat them the first time, where they kind of tricked off the game because of special teams. I'm not going to lie. But for us to come back the second time in Orlando and smash them worse, I can't even tell you some of the things that I heard some of the fans say. But
you called everything but a child of God.
It's SEC entitlement. Even a program like Florida State, that's a respectable program, even though they had a poor year last season. But they're a respectable program. They're not supposed to compete with anybody in the SEC, even though when I was there, we used to smack around Florida when I was there. So that being said, I'm loving everything right now. Living in SEC country, and I can talk all the noise I need to right now. I've been wearing FSU stuff ever since Saturday. Ever since Saturday, I've been knolled up.
Former NFL offensive lineman. He is an Ed Block Courage Award recipient with his time with the Baltimore Ravens. Wally Williams. Wally, what's got you fired up this week?
Let me tell you what has me fired up this week. Okay, let me tell you what has me fired up this week. The first thing that has me fired up this week is we got our ass ripped Friday nights in our high school game, 79-14. So to have another opportunity to come back from that ass whooping and jump down our players' throat, put some fire up under their behind and get them railed back up. We put the pads back on them. We've been going at it in practice all week. We had to re-identify what football is about. So that's the first thing. Along with the season going on, man, I'm over here about to explode right now. I am ready. I can't wait. I can't wait till tomorrow, which is going to catapult me into Friday, which is going to catapult me into college football on Saturday. And by Sunday, I may have to sit and have a helmet on watching the game. I may have to go. I may have to put a jersey on and a helmet on and bang on the wall to calm myself down because it's just so much football and so much emotion going on right now. So rebounding from an ass whooping is the main focus.
I might have to put my fanny pack on and watch the game. And some scissors and some tape and some Band-Aids and some gauze and see what happens. Some eye black or, some smelling salts.
Hey, no. Smelling salts are banned now. Remember that.
It's not in my house. It's not. In the NFL, it is. They still sell them. You can order them.
Former NFL defensive lineman with the Bengals, the Vikings, and the Chiefs. That's our good friend, Duane Clemons. DC. Same question to you. What's got you fired up this week?
That we about to start it off first. My team, the Chiefs, are ready to start this season off in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We're going to start it off with the AFC West Conference. Since we're not even going to win our conference this year, somehow we're a worse team than we were last year. But it's kind of cool that we're kind of coming in as an underdog to a team that ain't beat us in I don't know how many years. So I'm looking forward to seeing some Chargers fans cry.
It starts early, man. It starts before kickoff. Can you know what I'm saying?
And Patrick Mahomes is pissed. You know what it is to have a pissed off Patrick Mahomes? That's the best Patrick Mahomes of all time.
Why is he pissed? Why is he pissed?
Because the man went 15-1, lost in the Super Bowl badly because he didn't have no offensive tackles and some patchwork receivers, and everybody just shitted on him all offseason. This thing, he can't win the division. He's not a top 10 quarterback. So I feel like, okay, Pat's like, yeah. Give me some more.
Whoa. Whoa, stop.
What?
I need sources on who says he's not a top 10 quarterback anymore.
Yeah,
because I feel like you're throwing that out there to make bulletin board material that ain't there, DC. It ain't there. There ain't nobody. There's nobody. I'm calling bullshit. Nobody in their right mind is dumb enough to say Patrick Mahomes is not a top 10 quarterback and want to be on the internet.
All right,
that's the sorry.
All you gotta say is he ain't number.
That's the Chiefs' former player. That's the sorry loser because they got their ass whooped. And see, now he just embellishing all this.
I'm pissed.
I'm like
I'm
you,
pissed,
Dave.
yes.
Not a
we
top
got our
10
ass whooped.
quarterback, really. Who said that?
Oh, okay, that might be a little better. But they definitely talking like he not the guy no more. So, whatever it is, they ain't putting no respect on his name like they used to. So, they talking down on him like he ain't that dude. And he's pissed about it.
Well, is it safe to say that the Eagles have a blueprint and set a blueprint in place that can beat the KC?
They had one good game.
And Patrick Mahomes?
They've had one good game against Patrick Mahomes. That's one. All right, let's see them do what Patrick Mahomes has done year after year after year after year after year. They got one.
Hey, I'm gonna be 100 with you. Nobody know what's going on in Kansas City. Nobody's even paying attention to Mahomes and everything right now.
Exactly.
All they're paying attention to
that's DC talk.
Hey,
you're right. Nobody is.
Nobody's outside of KC. Nobody is talking about Patrick Mahomes and what they're doing. All they're talking about is Travis Kelce, is Kelsey marrying Taylor Swift. That's it. That's the news.
Right.
His jersey skyrocketed.
Well, that just happened.
Right.
That just happened, but previous to that, they was hitting on him. They was hitting on Pat.
It was still that. It was still.
The video game said he wasn't even a 99 no more. They said they took all his rankings down. It was like, man, come on.
Eagles effect.
Yeah, the Eagles whipped his ass, and now all of a sudden he's just not the guy.
Pick 6 in the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he plays one bad game, and all of a sudden he lost it. But I'm glad that the people feel that way.
You know what, man? Outside of talk shows like this, okay, and I even talk about the national pundits and what they do. Okay, to be honest with you, the only thing I heard about consistently pretty much the whole off season was whatever the hell was going on with Dallas and Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah, right. So glad he's in Green Bay.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, and you know what? Let me ask this question because we got a finality to that.
Right.
With the trade to the Packers. How watching all this play out, I'll start with you, DC. You were a former pass rusher. You were a DN in a high value position. What do you make of how all of this played out and the fallout that's coming from that?
So the most important position in football is the quarterback. The second most important position in football is the guy that can put your quarterback on a stretcher. You don't get rid of a real life killer that's got at least 300,000 or 400,000 miles left on him. It's like, man, you just gave away a brand new Bentley, and you got two, maybe, you got some picks, but like you don't know what they're gonna be. So I mean, to me, it just kind of solidifies the fact that Jerry is out of his mind and that he's past his prime. He needs to let somebody who's hip to the game get in there and start making big decisions because his ego and pride is just completely discombobulated. He just flushed the whole season down the toilet.
Wow. Wally, let's get your take.
I mean, the drama that look, if you have seen the Cowboy documentary on Netflix and seen the things that Jerry Jones has gone through to make that team for what he spent $150 million for to purchase it, to make it basically a $9 billion and one of the richest NFL teams, one of the richest teams in sports, as we see it today. His marketing prowess, how he's kept that star at the focal point, drama, all those things like that, he loves it. And I agree with DC that, look, you need to let football people do the football thing. Okay, you want to market the team and promote the team and you're a great salesman, awesome. But you can't combine the two. You can't be an authoritative, personnel guy who's making all of these decisions and be a showmanship as well. You can't mix the two. And look, it's a reason why the Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl since Jimmy Johnson left. Well, in the last 30 years now, since '96 when Switzer was there. And Jerry Jones has made a lot of money. He's created an empire over there. But look, the statistics on the field and his, prowess at putting together a roster and all those things that win their championships, well, it speaks for itself. And, he's not going to let go of it. That just his old school way. And, until he moves on, I don't see the Cowboys doing anything but being news, front page news. And that's what he does best, making them front page news.
Interesting. DB, I want to get your thoughts. I have one final question. We have Carl Banks joining us here in a couple minutes, so we don't have a lot of time before he comes on, but I want to get your take.
I'll make it quick. To me, it just sounds like this was an emotional business decision. I think Jerry's emotions got involved. He was a little pissed off. I'm not sure if you guys saw the Stephen A. Smith interview he had with Jerry Jones. He appeared to be in his feelings in that interview. And I just think this is just a trade that he's just made based off being emotional versus just thinking football. Obviously, he's not been thinking football for many years, but I think this particular deal was just based off him being pissed and showing everybody who's boss. And at the end of the day, we supposedly had a deal and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna just get you out of here, regardless of how much of an impact player he is. He's not bigger than me. That's what I see.
Here's my thing, and my question about this that I come back to is, does this do reprehensible harm to drawing guys to want to come to Dallas?
Of course.
And I like that has to be the answer. I don't think there's another answer. If you are a free agent, if you are a guy in a contract year, I don't know how comfortable I would be wanting to re-up with Dallas.
Because players, the question, you can't even get coaches.
Well, exactly. Like, it comes a point where you just have to say, what are you in this for? And Wally, kind of to your point, when it comes to Jerry Jones, it sort of feels like, hey, I'm building the brand. Well, that's nice, but the brand also has to win football games to maintain the relevancy that you want to have it to have in this landscape. And he just has not done enough, and he's alienated enough people that that the Cowboy product on the field is paying a price. I don't think there's any one of us that sits here and says they're better than the Commanders or the Eagles. They're not better than maybe 3 teams in the NFC North. They're not better than Tampa Bay. And maybe in line with the teams in the NFC West. So what? That puts them the 8th, maybe the 9th best team in the NFC? We're not talking about a great team here.
Yeah, yeah.
And he literally just helped another NFC team get a lot better.
And again, you know, I think historically, if you understand who Jerry Jones is, okay, his makeup as a businessman, you know, his makeup as a salesman. He comes from that's what that documentary, I think, you know, documentary tells a lot about the kind of person that he is.
Right.
Okay, one thing that he is not, okay, he is not a football aficionado. Okay, right. He is a businessman. He is a salesman. Okay, period. And that's his toy to play with the Cowboys. He's made a tremendous amount of money. And I think as that continues to grow, that's his satisfaction. Okay, right. That brand. And I think that brand is what catapults a lot of those players to make the decision to go there. Now, whether he gets top quality players is one thing, but he'll always have guys knocking on the door that want to be a Cowboy just for the perks in Dallas. And look, DC can talk about this. Even Duane can talk about this. Every city has perks for their players. All right. And the Cowboys have perks for the lowest guy on the totem. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, you got to understand what they bring, but it just does not, at the end of the day, just not equate to putting competitive teams on the field every year that are championship quality. That's what it does not equate to.
Wally, to your point, like you said, everybody gets perks with Dallas. I mean, when I worked in the NFL, the thing about Dallas athletic trainers was, well, Jerry was paying them super well, you know, as athletic trainers. So, and they've had that staff there in place for years. And that's just one of the perks of working in Dallas. Those guys ain't going anywhere. And to a point I made earlier about Jerry just being Jerry, he did the same thing with Jimmy Johnson. You know, you're not going to be bigger than me. And ran Jimmy Johnson out of time. Same thing he did with Micah Parsons, in my opinion. So, but I just wanted to make that point about the athletic trainers in Dallas, and Brett Brown is an excellent athletic trainer that's there. He can be a head athletic trainer somewhere else, but he's making head athletic trainer money in Dallas. So why would he go and have the headache of being an athletic trainer somewhere where he could make head athletic trainer money in Dallas being an assistant? And he's been in the field for probably 30 years or close to it. Very well respected, but he ain't going nowhere.
I think that the points are all well taken, and we have our great guest that we are really excited to talk to him. He is a former Ed Block Courage Award recipient in 1994 with the Cleveland Browns, a teammate of our co-host Wally Williams. I'm gonna get
Wally.
Wally is already fired up.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing?
I'm beautiful, man. Beautiful. Great to see you. Great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Carl Banks is kind enough to join us. Carl, we're talking about the Micah Parsons situation, and you cover the Giants for Bell Podcast Network. You played against you know the Jerry Jones brand. What do you make of the Micah Parsons situation and how this all played out?
I think it was not handled very well by the team. So if we're being honest, Micah Parson is a generational player. He and T.J. Watt and the kid Myles Garrett from Cleveland, these are walking Hall of Famers when their careers are over. And you don't let those guys walk out of the door because you're offended that you have to deal with an agent. That's so 1970s, 1980s football management, right? And so he got to a point to where, the owner could not convince the general manager, who is himself, to get a deal done. And that's kind of where the danger is, taking your own counsel because, and Wally's been in the league when, general managers took a hard line and you took a hard line, and all of a sudden the owner has to step in and say, okay, let's figure out how we can get him signed. Well, those two are the same person with Jerry Jones. And they, he just decided that he wanted to, put his ego in front of that. And it's to great benefit to the NFC East because they don't have to deal with him twice a year. Even the Philadelphia Eagles, nobody wanted to deal with this kid because he was just that good. But I just think Dallas handled it poorly. They may not admit it, but he's a generational player. He should have remained there his entire career. But it is what it is.
Carl, do you think?
Go ahead, DC. Go ahead.
Carl, do you think that they're gonna always have a black eye because of this? Like being able to attract top leaders at head coach, at general manager, at those critical positions where you need leaders who want some autonomy, who actually, demand some level of respect for themselves, so they wouldn't be attracted to his situation.
Well, I mean, he's not for everybody. There are certain coaches that won't go coach for Dallas because of, the omnipotence of Jerry Jones. He's there pregame, postgame. He's doing the interviews before the coaches are doing the interviews. And, that's just how he runs his business. Now, if you go into that stadium, there's not an empty seat. They still probably lead all teams in merchandise revenue. So he's doing something right. The football aspect of it, there hasn't been a reckoning yet. The fact that they continue to win and get knocked out of the playoffs early doesn't seem to impact them as of yet. But at some point, I'm sure the fan base is going to be like, yo, okay, we get these 12, 13 wins a year and we can't get out of the first round of the playoffs.
Well, how does this bode for everybody else, in particular the NFC East? Because it's just always unrest in Dallas, and New York is slowly over there putting some things together. You got kind of an eclectic quarterback room there.
Yeah.
And talk about how that's going to, I see something brewing over there, but we just know if they can connect with neighbors, and is Tracy going to be the guy running back, or Scatterboo? So what exactly are you guys conjuring up there in New York and going to unleash into the league here?
Well, I think in New York, it was kind of a marriage of convenience with Russell Wilson. I think he was at a place in his career where he needed kind of a home where he could really be authentic and be a leader. And the Giants were in need of someone who could actually, be that player leader. And, there's a lot of things said about Russell, and I had never met him personally until he got to New York. And we've crossed paths many times, but never really sat down and broke bread with him. And I have to tell you, I mean, for whatever people think about him, and you're entitled to that, but this dude is chronically positive. Like he is, I mean, some people call it corny, right? But that is authentically who he is, right? Some people will say it's corny, but like that is him. Like he is no bad days for him, man. And he's like, he won't let his teammates, get down during camp and things of that nature. So he is exactly what the Giants needed in terms of, player leadership. And then Jameis Winston's not much different, right? Jameis is a good time, man, but he cares about team. He cares about his teammates. And I mentioned, when you talk about what does Russ mean, he's a guy who's been on both sides of adversity, right? He's won and has been at the very highest. He's lost and been through hell and has come back out on top. Um, and the thing about him is his arm is still live. Obviously they drafted Jackson Dart and he's their future. But I think Russ is the guy who's going to, get them on track and leave them in a good space for when the young kid comes in to play. Running back is going to be by committee. Tyrone Tracy is a very good running back. Scatterboo from Arizona State. We'll see. He can, he's a big kid who can catch and he's got good lateral movement. But I think the most exciting aspect for me is that their ability to now drive the ball down the field with Russ, and it just doesn't look hard. Last year, the last couple of years, the offense just looked complicated and hard, not because of the play calling, but it just seemed like everything was a struggle. And, Russ is a graduate student when it comes to quarterbacking. So he's seen it all. He's pre-snap, post-snap, and he does a good job. But the defense is the one area that I think, guys, you should really pay attention to. If they can stop the run, they're gonna raise hell on a quarterback. I mean, they've got with Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter is a different type of guy. He's something else. So I'm looking forward to seeing them defensively to see if they can stop the run because I think, if they can create a negative down, they'll be able to get after the quarterback pretty good.
Carl, I would be remiss, since you are a former Ed Block Courage Award recipient, if I didn't ask you what it means to you to be an Ed Block recipient.
Well, I mean, it means a lot because Ed Block, the award, the organization means a lot in community, right? And it's a recognition of not only athletic achievements, but the people, the person of the award. And so it's a special award for me.
Mr. Banks, this is Duane Brooks, resident athletic trainer here with the podcast. And you've played with the Giants and you've played with the Browns. You won the award with the Browns, but I was wondering if you had any Ronnie Barnes or Bill Tessendorf stories that you could share.
So, Ronnie and I go way back. He's a Michigan State trainer. So he broke me in when I walked through the doors at the Giants. He broke me in, but that was in the early 80s when players were a little wild. And Ronnie used to have a big stick next to his training table because we had a couple players. Casey Merrill would come in and raise hell, and Ronnie at one point just raised his stick up and said, "I'm not taking it anymore." And we still tease him about it today. But Ronnie's, he's the best in the business.
Yes, he is.
Tess is incredible as well. When it came to managing, a veteran player, of my age when I was in Cleveland, I was 30, I believe. And so making sure I was healthy every game and being able to contribute, it was great. Those two are just some of the best in the business.
Yes, when I was in undergrad school at FAMU, when I took care of Wally, Ronnie was a mentor to me. And I took a business management course in undergrad school, and he sent me a packet of information on how he started his clinics.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yes, so I was a huge Ronnie Barnes fan, and he inspired me to to have a positive career in the NFL. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he's a huge inspiration to me.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
So, Carl, I got to ask because Wally was ecstatic when he found out that you were on the pod because you guys were teammates.
Yeah, man.
But I'm gonna put you on the spot right here. What was your initial impressions of Mr. Wally Williams the first time you met him as a Cleveland Brown?
Listen, he was, Wally's great personality. We had a great crew, man. Like, I was walking into a situation that was so talented that I thought, with myself and Pepper was there a year before me, but it was just like, let's see if we can get everybody to really max their potential and all push in the same direction. But in doing so, we had so much fun, did we, Wally?
We
Like
did.
we had,
We
I
did.
mean, when you talk about camaraderie and like, one man's fight was every man's fight, that was us. Like we had just a tremendous group of players both sides of the ball, and we just went out, we had fun, we were super talented, and we were able to, put up some good numbers up before the team decided to move.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, see, Carl doesn't know this. But me having the opportunity to be in the locker room and be with the Browns during that time, you got to understand the people that were there. You're talking about the Nick Sabans of the world and, Bill Belichick's and the Mike Lombardis and, even the other coaches that we had, Woody Woodenhofer, long term,
Yeah, Woody, yeah.
yeah, long time defensive coordinator, won championships with the Steelers. You had a lot of guys who had a lot of experience and a lot of leadership. And I am not, listen, you don't understand. And like I said, I never told Carl this, but you don't understand how intimidated I was, okay, to be in the locker room with these men, okay? Because like you said, Pepper Johnson was there, okay, a year before he got there. And all I knew about those guys is those guys acting a fool and stepping on the helmet in the middle of the damn stadium during the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
All right. All I know about the Giants is Carl Banks and Pepper Johnson and Gary Reasons and Lawrence Taylor tearing everybody ass for a long time in the damn NFL. Okay. And then, well, I forget my other guy's name.
Harry Carson,
Harry Carson, goddamn.
Yeah.
How can I
South
forget
Carolina
that? Okay.
State.
Yeah.
South Carolina State. Okay. That's all I remember. And I tell kids this, okay, because it happens this fast. I was literally at home at the same house I'm sitting in with my parents, watching the draft and going through this process. Okay. Within hours, I'm sitting in front of Belichick, Ozzie Newsome, and now I'm dealing with Pepper Johnson and Michael Dean Perry and all these kind of things like that. And now I see Carl Banks coming through the room and all these things. I'm like, I'm going to learn something now.
Well, look, we all learned that we could be so much better. Think about, I mean, the offensive line you guys had with Big Zeus and rest in peace. I see his son sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
but like we started running the football on folks, man. It was something else, bro. Leroy, as much as I hated that he fumbled once a game, but like he was like we punished people. And
Yes.
I talked to Eric Metcalf a lot. He and I still talk a bit, but we had such an incredible
Yes.
group, like Mike Jackson and
Yes.
the kid from Michigan,
Derek Alexander.
D. Alexander.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were it was just a hell of a team, man. I just wish we could have, been there another year without Art, uprooting the team. But it worked out in Baltimore for you guys. But It was special in Cleveland, man. It was really special. And I thought, we were onto something. And, just the fact that, I was kind of at the end of my career, but watching you guys just really start to blossom and to bloom into your full potential was so fulfilling to me, right? Because I grew up in a system where accountability was everything, and we all knew that we had jobs to do, but we did them so that the other guy could be good at his job. And once we got that feeling in Cleveland, man, I was like, we're gonna do some things. And obviously, again, when the team moved, a lot of that, and you guys got some very good players to add to that crew, but there was something special brewing.
Carl, when you look at this D line that you guys have assembled, do you think that you could have 3 double-digit pass rushers on one D line in this group?
I think it'll be close. I think you can get two and probably another guy that's going to be somewhere around 9.5 sacks, because it's too hard to, especially, and Wally can probably tell you a lot more about this now. Today's offensive line is just not the same. The area block, a lot of these kids have never had their hand in the dirt. The in tackle twist is a foreign language to these kids. You see it every week, an in tackle twist, and somebody's running free to the quarterback. So if you got to allocate resources to either Dexter Lawrence or Brian Burns, you know, you can't block them all, and these guys have pretty good skill sets. So, but for me, I think the key for that success to happen is that they've got to be able to stop the run. And if they can do that, then they'll have opportunities. Or if the offense can put up a lot of points, then they'll be able to get after the passer as well.
It's funny that you made that observation about the offensive lineman and how the game has changed and the physicality up front. I mean, do you feel that's totally dominated by defenses now, the athletes, all those things like that, where usually the dirtiest guys in the league during our day were the offensive linemen? I mean, you could run the
Yeah.
gamut of how many guys, they were the dirtiest guys.
Yeah. I mean, you probably got two teams that I can really say that represent old school blocking. I think it's without a doubt Philadelphia. And the Houston Texans were pretty good running the football too, and they lost their big guy to Washington. But yeah, I mean, look, a lot of the guys, the learning curve is so steep right now because they're learning certain things that they never learned from high school to college, and then they get to the pros because it's all 7-on-7 camps and it's spread offenses, and it works for college, but in the pros, you've got to, you're at a disadvantage if you can't, get your hand in the dirt and move laterally. I mean, a lot of these kids just can't. And it takes probably 3 years to find out if an offensive lineman can actually play or not. And used to be you could know by the end of the season one, if a kid could play. Now it's, he's teaching them a lot of different things about how the NFL offenses work. Even if they're coming from a similar system in college and they go into the pros, the offense looks the same, but the defense doesn't. And what defenses do to those schemes at the pro level is a lot different than they do in college.
Mr. Banks,
Just
I
call
have
me
one more
Carl, Duane.
question. I'm sorry, Carl. I have one more question for you. In the days when you played, obviously it was a different game. You could cut and all that kind of stuff. You can crack back block and all that kind of stuff. The game is a lot safer. They've changed the kickoff format, the way that's done these days. But I have a problem myself as an athletic trainer and a former high school player myself with the way players wear the pants above the knees. And I think that's a safety violation myself. And I just wanted to know what you thought about it as a former player.
Well, we were never allowed to have our pads without knee pads in them. Even if it was a gauze pad,
Right.
we would get checked. But I just think it's just the way the game is. I mean, a lot of these kids don't even wear socks. You know, they wear cleats without socks. And I don't think that's safe either. But this is, you know, they just think it's a track meet, right? So they just play accordingly. And because it's a different level of physicality, I guess, you know, for the most part, they can get away with it. You know, they got strike zones now where you can hit a kid. And it's just different. But I just think for safety's sake, you know, they should have knee pads in, but you know, the shoulder pads are just as small.
Right.
Look, hey, Bill would literally walk around and hit your thigh pads and hit, you know, testing. He would literally walk around and find you right there for not having all your pads and everything and ready to play.
Yep.
How you want to start your practice with a fine?
Exactly.
So when I played with John Randall and Chris Doman, we tried to play butt naked. Like, we didn't wear a single pad. I mean, we went and got the kicker's shoulder pads and literally in a helmet. We didn't have a thigh pad, a hip pad, a knee pad, or nothing. We wanted to be naked.
Yeah.
We wanted to be fast and quick.
At least your pants was down to your knees, though. I don't think the game is safe enough to play in shorts.
I don't either.
Oh, yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I don't either.
And you see
I wore long socks, so I had something over my knees, but it wasn't no pad.
Something.
Yeah.
Carl, we're gonna get you out of here on this because we appreciate the time you have given us. What is the ceiling and the floor for the Giants, in your opinion, as they get ready to play the Commanders here in Week 1 and in the course of this season?
I think the floor is where they ended the season last year with, I think it was 3 wins. I don't know what the ceiling is. I know they have better talent. They will be a better football team, but so is the rest of the division, right? So they're just catching up in the talent area. So it's going to be exciting. I know they're a better football team. I suspect they'll finish better than they did last year, but where that is, I can't predict it because, you know, you might catch a break in your schedule. Teams get players hurt, and you might remain healthy and catch a team at the right time and being able to, you know, pull a few off that people don't think you can.
All right, Carl. Well, we appreciate all the time. You can listen to Carl Banks on the Bell Podcast Network. He hosts it with Bob Papa. He's a 1994 Ed Block Courage Award recipient with the Cleveland Browns. Wally's former teammate. Carl, am I missing any other things to mention about you here?
No, it's the Believe Podcast. BLEAV.
Believe. I always screw it. I always screw it up.
But I'm so happy that you reconnected me with my guy Wally, man. Wally, I'm gonna tell Pepper you and I spoke, man. We gotta make sure Dave send me that. I have Ryan send me Wally's information, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, most definitely, man. Most definitely, man.
I'll tell Pepper we spoke too, man. Pepper and I still talk a lot.
Why don't you come to our big party next year, and then we can all celebrate together in real life.
Fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back, Carl.
If I can make it happen schedule-wise, I'm there.
All right, we'll send you all that information.
All right.
Our thanks to Carl Banks. Carl, thank you for taking some time with us today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will have more in a moment.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Ed Block CourageCast as we get ready to wrap this up. Our thanks to Carl Banks, who was just wonderful. A wonderful conversation. We love talking with some of the older guys that have been out of the league a little bit that are Ed Block recipients because the stories you get out of them. And I know, particularly for Wally, this was a special one for you to get to reconnect with somebody you haven't gotten to talk to in a while.
Yes. You know, Carl was a tremendous influence. You know, you see the way he talks and carry himself and and all those things. And he was one of the guys that, of course, I grew up somewhat watching his career and emulating some of the things that the Giants did and watched him as a kid and had an opportunity to call him a teammate, to call him somebody that I can talk to and all those things. That's one of the great things about this game and being a little kid or being a kid and kind of fulfilling some of your dreams. So Carter's one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys that, great teammate, but he was also a guy that I looked up to and had the opportunity to call him a teammate. So I'm still a fan of the game, and I was a fan of Carl's way before I was a teammate of his. So it was great connecting with him on this show right here.
Happy you got to have that, man.
That is awesome. It's one of those bucket list highlight moments when we're able to do this. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Ed Block CourageCast. We hope you enjoy the slate of Week 1 football. We will watch it all with you. We will break it down for you right here on this podcast next week. Maybe we'll wear helmets next week.
I have mine.
I got 2.
Fanny pack.
We'll figure it out and let you know. But for Duane Clemons, for Dwayne Brooks, for Wally Williams, I'm Dave Stonewall. This has been the Ed Block CourageCast. Have a great week. Enjoy it. It's back. Football is back. The world is right.